Welcome to a juicy book bit about Endgame written by SCOBIE. I'm going to cover my review of this book in a moment, but it's honestly a terrible read. It's vicious. There's nastiness galore from SCOBIE, and he goes after every single member of the royal family except for two people. And you guessed it right if you're thinking Harry and Meghan. Throughout the book, it seemed like the author paraphrased bits of gossip he claims comes from sources he trusts. Much of it is made up from previous published quotes and headlines. It's very unprofessional. SCOBIE does talk about King Charles and his work, as well as Queen Camilla's charities, but he does so while emphasising Charles's frustration with becoming the king because he found he couldn't quite be as outspoken about causes close to him as he had in the past. Well, that's nothing new. We're all well aware that the king must refrain in his speech in a way that he didn't have to as the Prince of Wales. SCOBIE also wrote about Queen Camilla's charities that support battered women, which is, again, obviously information we're all aware of. He spoke about Queen Elizabeth II, of her life and her death. But again, nothing new was written that hasn't been reported about before. It was all blah, blah, blah. Carry on. What I did find frustrating in this book was how SCOBIE spoke of Prince William and Catherine. They definitely had it rough in this book. SCOBIE clearly doesn't like them, and he obviously has an axe to grind. He even accuses William of betraying his own mother, and if that doesn't want to make you sick, I don't know what will. This attack on William's character happens when SCOBIE uses the Martin Bashir interview with Princess Diana from 1995 to make some truly despicable claims about William, and all while lifting Prince Harry up. It's sickening. The author also seemed to have a very esteemed opinion of himself, as well as Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, and he hammers away at glorifying them whenever he can, with nothing new or interesting to add from his previously published work Finding Freedom. I would actually summarize this book by saying it is filled with biased propaganda. There is no two ways about it. SCOBIE is petty, bitter, and his never-ending attacks on King Charles, Queen Camilla, the Prince and Princess of Wales, and their three children has seriously gone on for far too long. I'm disgusted by what I read. Not to mention the outlandish revelations in the Dutch edition of Endgame that name King Charles and the Princess of Wales as racists. I haven't heard anything more ludicrous in my life. There isn't a racist bone in either of their bodies. Catherine, well, she is a sweet soul, authentic, kind, and adored by people all around the world. While King Charles, he supports all people, no matter their race, religion, or ethnicity. He comes across as caring, sympathetic, understanding, and encouraging, all wonderful attributes for a monarch. Here, though, I'm going to show you the headline article for today in the Daily Mail, and I'll read parts of it for you while it's on the screen. Let's not forget, we'll just backtrack a second, that SCOBIE insisted that he did not write the two names of his so-called royal racists. And here's what the article says, that his UK agent did send a draft manuscript naming the two royal racists to be translated into Dutch. So it appears SCOBIE's Weasley words have been found out. This article also goes on to say that the palace is mulling over legal action. I'm certain we're all hopeful that that might happen. So, what should we make of this royal racism row instigated by SCOBIE in Endgame? That was a question put to Angela Levin yesterday. She's a reliable and well-informed royal correspondent, and she's gone on the record as saying he must have set it all up. This was either a publicity stunt to sell more books, or he wanted to be as nasty as possible about King Charles and the Princess of Wales. Angela Levin said that she thinks if Prince Harry and Meghan Markle don't actually threaten to sue SCOBIE, then there's something really wrong going on. That means Harry and Meghan have accepted SCOBIE's naming of the royals and that they might even like it. I think we can all agree that's just appalling. And so far, Harry and Meghan haven't said a word. They haven't come out and spoken in defence. Meghan is certainly showing her spitefulness. She's getting her own back, and we're having to watch her nastiness unfold. I'm sure like you, you will be feeling sorry for King Charles. He's a kind man and he loves Harry. Charles is being put in a state where he hates what his child is doing, but something inside him makes him want to love his son just as a father does. He must be worried about Harry's state of mind and simply wants to leave a door open for him. Unfortunately, Harry is behaving exactly as Meghan tells him to. We can all see it. He's like a sort of servant to her. He's also quite clearly got a cruel streak about himself to allow what's been happening to happen. We only have to look back in time to see it was Prince Harry who used to speak so lovingly about his sister-in-law back in the day before he met Meghan. He adored Catherine. But all of that changed when Meghan's spitefulness rose to the forefront. Meghan and her mouthpiece, SCOBIE, appear intent in this book on smearing Catherine. But you know what? The more they do, the more we love and want to protect Catherine, who will one day be our queen. Let's not let them take her down. We won't let them. Carrying on, here's some more interesting news from Great Britain News, GBN today. We're also seeing from the news today that Tory MP Bob Seeley is seeking a law change to strip the Duke and Duchess of Sussex of their royal titles. Here's a statement from the MP below. Harry and Meghan should not keep the titles and privileges if they trash an institution that plays an important part in our nation's life. I think we can all agree with Bob Seeley on that count. I'm just going to reiterate here that what Bob Seeley is talking about is an old law. Seeley wants to go back to Germany and Britain in 1917, the First World War, and bring in where the Germans couldn't take their British titles with them. They could be wiped out. And this politician wants to bring this to Parliament next week and make sure that they could do that. But he's also not very well known. One royal correspondent, Angela Levin, she has said that it might be something that he says, then everyone will move on, because it's very difficult to remove their titles, because they can take off Duke and Duchess, but they can't take away Prince Harry. He's in the line. Should Duke and Duchess be gone, though, then Meghan would be called Princess Henry, which she would be entitled to, but which Angela Levin doesn't believe she'd like. But that's how it would be. Following that, in another GBN interview today that I caught, Lady Colin Campbell was asked a similar question. She was asked what she thought about removing the Duke and Duchess title with this Tory MP and what he is going to be going to Parliament with. And she referred to the amendment being tabled under what is kind of classified as Traitor's Amendment. And there is a feeling that Harry and Meghan have betrayed the interests of the monarchy and the country and the Commonwealth. And Lady C thinks that if the family doesn't do something, then there's no good reason why Parliament doesn't do something. She is in favour of it. She believes that if all the SCOBIE nonsense has been the final straw, because there's absolutely no doubt in her mind that she believes anyone else with a brain that Meghan is behind it. I'm certainly going to see more unfold here during the next few days, so stay tuned. That's all from me today, and if you enjoyed this post, please give it a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'll catch you in a few days. Bye, everyone.